Alright, hello friends and family and YouTube.com. It's me, Wilson. So I've been in Sierra Leone interning at the Tacugama Chimpanzee Sanctuary for about 2 weeks now. So I'm kind of getting into a routine, getting settled, and I wanted to let you guys know what I'm up to here. So first I think I should share a little bit about what Tacugama Chimpanzee Sanctuary is and does. So Tacugama is a really cool organization that does kind of a whole range of really important chimpanzee conservation work here in Sierra Leone. So, I mean, at its root, it's a sanctuary for orphan chimpanzees. So oftentimes, when mother chimpanzees are killed for bushmeat here in Sierra Leone, the babies are then taken by poachers and sold into the illegal pet trade, or kept as pets in people's homes. And chimpanzees are crazy strong, crazy intelligent, crazy dangerous. They do not make good pets in any way, so that's problematic, and it's very illegal because chimpanzees are very endangered. So when they're hopefully confiscated by law enforcement, they come here to Tacugama. So at the core of Tacugama's work is that it's a home for 90 chimpanzees who can't be in the wild. But then on top of that, they do a ton of other work taking care of chimpanzees in the wild. We're situated right in the middle of the Western Area Peninsula National Park. So we're in a place with wild chimpanzees. They do a lot of field research on the activities of different wildlife here in the park. They work on law enforcement here, so they have rangers that patrol around here, and they also do a ton of education and community outreach, because a huge part of this work is finding solutions for people and wildlife to live together in harmony. They do a ton of environmental sensitization. They work to find sustainable livelihoods for people, so creating ways for people to support themselves in ways that don't have them exploiting the resources of the forest. So things like teaching people to breed chickens and goats, and providing the goats, providing seeds for farming, anything so that you don't have to be harvesting from the forests. And they also do a ton of education work with kids and with community members about chimpanzees, about how they don't make good pets, about the importance of taking care of the forest. So really, really cool and important work. So what am I doing here? Every day is a little different for me, and I split my time between different parts of the sanctuary. So in the morning, I usually get up at like 6:45. I go out and help the animal care staff preparing milk and giving milk to the baby chimpanzees, and then washing fruit for the rest of the chimpanzees. So a lot of scrubbing mangoes and bananas. Usually takes about an hour, and then I usually work until lunch on projects for the community outreach program. I'm helping Tacugama write the first environmental education curriculum to go into the national curriculum. So that is a really exciting opportunity to help share this message with kids across Sierra Leone. I'm also working on designing some education messaging for they have a little resource center museum type thing, so I'm working on the signage for updating that museum. So that's really interesting, and I'm getting some really good experience there. In the afternoons, I'm usually in charge of creating enrichment for chimpanzees. So if you don't know, behavioral enrichment is basically toys for animals. It's a fancy word for when an animal is living in captivity, you want to do everything you can to keep it physically and mentally stimulated. So there's lots of different creative examples, but with the chimpanzees, I want to be making things that simulate sort of natural foraging behaviors. So I end up making a lot of like toilet paper rolls with leaves and peanut butter and peanuts and things like that. Today I took some big baskets and tied them together and filled it with leaves and paper and palm nuts and all this kind of thing, and threw it into the cages, and they had a really good time with that. So that's a really fun process, just making toys and then seeing what is most effective at getting them engaged and keeping them interested. So that's really fun, and that's kind of what my day-to-day looks like, but every day is a little different, and there's been days that I go out with the rangers, or I got to help film a procedure that they did the other day, lots of little graphic design jobs and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's what my internship looks like. It's really fun, and the other cool thing is that I'm like done by like 5 o'clock every day, and then I'm just like here, and there aren't like a lot of people around, so I end up just kind of like having a lot of time to like read and write and reflect. So that's nice to have sort of some some free time that is like only so free because I'm like in the middle of the jungle. But I also, like on my days off, I usually get to go into Freetown and explore the city. I went to the beach this weekend and that was beautiful. Yeah, but the other cool thing, it's just awesome to live in the rainforest like this. I'm learning why they call it a rainforest. We're just at the beginning of the rainy season, but it's rained harder than I've ever seen it rain anywhere. Everything is just constantly moist, and if it gets wet, it stays wet. So that's kind of gross, but it's part of it. And the other thing is, like, you know, you learn in your environmental science classes that biomes along the equator, right, or tropical rainforests are the most biodiverse places on Earth. You know, so I know that, but then seeing it in real life is just incredible. Like, there's not a day where I'm not totally blown away by something that I see here. Like, every color of butterflies just floating around, and the plants and the vines climbing on top of each other, and random little lizards or huge bugs. There's these giant millipedes that crawl around. I just ran into this Senegal chameleon the other day that was just cruising along a branch right next to my house. Just incredible, incredible stuff. I don't know, I just think that life is so beautiful, and it's incredible to see that and to live here. And that kind of experience of just being so immersed in the jungle really drives home the importance of what Tacugama is doing on a bigger scale here in Sierra Leone, because Sierra Leone is a very, very deforested country. There's very little primary forest left. Most of it has been cut down, and you can even see it. The other day I went on a walk with my manager, and she pointed out there's like a ridge line where you can see where the national park that we're in ends and the unprotected land begins, and it's just crazy because the mountain is just completely bare on one side and this beautiful green forest on the other side. And the thing is it's not just trees that are being cut down that you can replant, right? You're losing whole complex ecosystems and communities of butterflies, insects, lizards, and pangolins, and wild chimpanzees. And there's something, you know, you can replant trees and the forest will grow back, and nature's really resilient. But when chimpanzees go extinct somewhere, you don't just lose, you know, a group of chimpanzees, you lose a culture, right? Individual chimpanzee troops have different attributes. Some use tools, some have slightly different social structures. And even if you can reintroduce chimpanzees, it's not the same chimpanzees. We're talking about billions of years of evolution in these specific groups. So I think that's just insane that we're losing it at such a big rate. It's sad to think about the biodiversity that's being lost here, but it's important also to recognize that it's more complicated than that. You know, there's no one's evil in this situation. People are put into situations where they need to hunt for bushmeat for food or encroach on the rainforest to grow food because they don't have another source of income or of food, right? Sierra Leone is a really impoverished country with a really tough history of, you know, colonization and the issues that come after that, which ultimately led here to a 10-year brutal civil war. And then in 2014, they were one of the countries that was hit hardest with Ebola. People here are really struggling for survival. So you can't blame them for using the resources that they have in this way. And so I think that Tacugama's approach of educating people and providing more sustainable livelihoods is really important, because the truth is that at the rate that people are currently using the forest here, they won't be able to support themselves for long, aside from the biodiversity issue. So that's really important, but it's complicated, and it's definitely something that I've been thinking a lot about, you know, weighing these different ideals and thinking about what my role as someone from outside Sierra Leone is at all. What's my business as someone not from here to come in and tell people how to live? What I've been thinking about is this America First attitude that is in our country. And I just don't think it makes any sense. When you think about what's lost here as a result of that kind of selfish thinking, humans are so amazing and intelligent and capable, and I'm so sure that we have the brain power, we have the resources to create a sustainable world where communities of chimpanzees can thrive and communities of people can thrive. And I just think we can do it, but I think that turning inward and being centered on yourself or on your own country is really not productive in this sense. Alright, my video making got interrupted because I went with some coworkers to go to the dam nearby, which was really beautiful. Now we have a really nice sunset. But, in conclusion, I don't know that I really got anywhere with that except to say that I'm here, I'm having a good time. Life and biodiversity is incredible, and chimpanzees are awesome, but people are awesome and important as well. And protecting any individual species is really dependent on protecting all species, including our own. But it's also more complicated than you would think. So that is what I'm learning and thinking about here. I had an experience the other day that sort of brought this home. I was helping the rangers patrol a section of the forest, and we came across some people doing some illegal activity. They were breaking apart an old pipeline to take the metal and melt it down. And it's illegal to be in the national forest without a permit, and it's illegal to obviously take anything from the national forest, and any kind of human activity in a forest is dangerous to biodiversity because that can lead to hunting and disturbance and stuff like that. But when we came across, when we found the guys and started talking to them, I saw them, and they were boys my age, a little bit younger, who were still in school. And so, you know, it just makes you think. You know, it's easy to sit in the United States and say, oh, save the chimpanzees, poachers are evil, and all this kind of thing, but the truth is that it's much more complicated than that. So no one's evil, but I think that if we can work together, we can find ways to support Sierra Leoneans and support Sierra Leonean wildlife, and we'll all be better off for it. So yeah, I think that's the conclusion to this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and maybe leave your solutions to the global biodiversity crisis in the comments. I'd love to read them. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.